What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Comic Issues Daily, and today we're diving straight into some huge stories. DC just rewrote Darkseid, Jock's new Joker art looks straight out of a nightmare, and Marvel gave the most useless X-Men god-tier-like powers. But before we get into that, today's episode is brought to you by Ron's Comic Closet, your go-to shop for new releases, some raw books, and back issues. You can grab anything you see at Ron's site and use the code IHaveIssues at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase. So go there, have fun, and let's get into it. So DC just dropped the Omega Act #1, and I got to tell you, it's completely flipped what we thought we knew about Darkseid. For decades, he's been unstoppable, this unstoppable god trying to crush the universe under his boot, right? But writer Mark Waid and artist Dan Mora just reframed him as something even scarier, a concept that can't really die. Every time Superman and the League thought they took him down, it was actually part of his plan. He's been losing on purpose to reshape reality itself. That's next level cosmic chess, and it finally makes him feel like the terrifying myth he is supposed to be. What's brilliant is how this issue ties together years of continuity, stuff from Rebirth, Infinite Frontier, and even Final Crisis, and wields it into one unified vision called the Absolute Universe. Instead of going bigger with explosions, Wade goes deeper with philosophy, and Superman realizing that beating Darkseid might actually wreck the cosmic balance because darkness and light need each other to exist. There is this moment where Clark just stands there, understanding that if he truly wins, he might unmake everything. It's heavy, but it's the classic DC myth-level storytelling we've been missing. If you've been craving a Superman story that actually makes you think, this is it. The Omega Act #1 brings back that wow factor that makes comics feel epic again. Go grab it, read it, and tell me if you think Superman actually pulled off a victory or if he just gave Darkseid exactly what he wants. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And just to remind everybody that this is October, which is C3 month here on YouTube for comic books, and that's Comics Curing Cancer. So I do have the link up there to the link tree for Comics Curing Cancer, where you can go see all the activities that got scheduled for the end of the month, the last weekend in October. Auctions, comic book sales, different things. Go check it out. And I'll got some more information about that a little bit later today. All right. And then, okay, guys, you know how Jock's artwork always feels like it's crawling right out of a nightmare? Well, he's back at it again. And this time he's taking the Joker to an entirely new level of creepy. AIPT dropped this exclusive peek at this new piece from Absolute Batman 15. All the links to these articles that I'm summarizing are in the description of this video. And I swear, it takes the Joker to an entirely, oh, I already said that. And this image could haunt your dreams. I mean, we've all seen it floating on the internet. The Joker looks like a monster. This Joker's face is twisted with these rows of jagged teeth. His eyes are pale and cloudy, like something out of a horror film. And the whole thing is drenched in the black and red. It's not just scary. It's like philosophically, physiological or psychological portrait of madness itself. What's wild is that this isn't just random promo art. Jock explains that it's actually from a dream sequence inside the issue, meant to show how the Joker lives inside Batman's mind. And it's not about the Joker as a man. It's about the fear he represents. That's what makes it hit harder. The use of shadow and negative space feels like Arkham Asylum mixed with Batman Who Laughs. Jock's doing what he does best, showing the thin line between sanity and obsession. And if this is a taste of where DC is taking the absolute line, I'm all in. And fans online are already speculating that this teaser might be hinting at an upcoming Absolute Joker one-shot miniseries. And honestly, that would make sense. DC has been slowly feeding us these absolute glimpses through the artists instead of official announcements. And it's been brilliant marketing. If you haven't seen the image yet, pull it up on the AIPT page. It's haunting, it's gorgeous, and it's everything you expected from Jock when he decides to stare straight into the abyss. Take a look at it. Let me know in the comments. I would love to see your thoughts on that. And then, all right, DC fans, James Gunn is finally talking, and it sounds like we're about to get the full roadmap for the DCU. In a new update, Gunn said the big picture for the connected universe will be revealed very soon, and hinted that the Peacemaker Season 2 finale, which comes out this Thursday, is the key that ties it all together. Apparently, the episode doesn't just wrap up the show. It's directly connected to the first movie in the DCU lineup, Superman. So this is basically our bridge between the old DCEU and the new unified world Gunn's been teasing since taking over DC Studios. What's cool is that Gunn isn't just rebooting everything. He says the DCU will finally act like a true shared world. Movies, shows, animation, even games will all feed into each other. It's ambitious, but the way he's been talking, this might be the cleanest, most cohesive version of the DCU we've seen in decades. He's calling this era Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, which already sounds like it's a blend of myth and modern storytelling. If the Peacemaker finale really connects the dots like he claims, we might get the first clear look at how Superman, Waller, the Authority, and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow all line up. Fans are hyped but cautious. We've heard big promises from DC before, but this time it feels different. Gunn's actually communicating with the fans directly and being transparent, which is refreshing. And with Superman's 2020 with Superman on deck or being released, the timing makes sense for DC Studios to finally pull back the curtain. And if you're waiting to see where this universe is headed, keep an eye on that Peacemaker finale, which comes out this Thursday, just a reminder, because it sounds like the next era of DC officially starts there. And then we got, all right, this one's just plain fun. Batman and Deadpool on the same set of covers. We're doing it from the other publisher point of view this time. It's not an actual crossover, but still two worlds colliding in the way only the comic industry could pull off. Bleeding Cool's Daily Lying in the Gutter spotlighted a pair of store-exclusive variant covers that feature Batman on one and Deadpool on the other. Both illustrated the matching split panel design by Tyler Kirkham and David Nakayama. The left side shows Gotham's dark and moody, while the right bursts with Deadpool's trademark chaos is pure fan service, and collectors are losing their minds over it. Now, the interesting twist here is how these variants even exist. They're part of the new dual homage trend where retailers like the Comic Mint and Unknown Comics can release covers that reference both Marvel and DC without technically crossing legal lines. Basically, each artist did their half separately, but when you put them side by side, they fit together perfectly. It's like having a visual mashup of two universes without the paperwork nightmare of a real crossover. And the fact that this drops on the anniversary of Batman, the animated series debut, that's not an accident. Johnston pointed that out himself. Pre-orders for these things sold out in hours, and people are already flipping them for over $40 each on eBay. Collectors are calling it a mini amalgam moment, and they're not wrong. It scratches the nostalgic itch for the days when Marvel and DC actually teamed up. It's creative, it's collectible, and it's kind of a fan-fueled moment that reminds us of why variants, when done right, still matter. If you missed them, check out Bleeding Cool Gallery, or good luck finding one for CovrPrice now, because those are gone. And then this is pretty wild. Sorry, take a second. Marvel just took one of the most overlooked mutants ever, Cypher, and made him an absolute powerhouse. I'm talking potentially reality-breaking level power. In Age of Revelation #1, writer Kieran Gillen and artist Lucas Wernick took Doug Ramsey from the guy who just talks to computers into something called Revelations, a living, thinking language that fused with Warlock and Krakoa itself. He doesn't just translate anymore, he changes reality by speaking it. It's the most creative twist Marvel's done with the X-Men in a long time, and it actually fits perfectly with everything they've been building since House of X. The story builds on what happens after Fall of the House of X, where Cypher's mind basically fractured between the real world and Krakoa's digital consciousness. Now he's merged the two, absorbing every mutant language and machine code into himself. Imagine if Google Translate suddenly gained God powers. That's Cypher right now. Gillen described him as the first mutant god of communication, which sounds dramatic until you realize the dude can literally rewrite existence with syntax. It's equally part terrifying and brilliant, and it finally gives him the respect he's been missing since the Claremont days. Fans are eating this up. The character that used to be the butt of every useless power joke is now the X-Men's most unpredictable weapon. Collectors are already calling Age of Revelations #1 a sleeper key since it marks the debut of Cypher's new god form. It's proof that Marvel still knows how to reinvent its mythology when it wants to, and sometimes the quiet characters end up being the ones that change everything. Definitely one to pick up while it's still cover price. Yeah. Okay. And then from news in the Marvel MCU, there's a new rumor making the rounds, and it's a big one. Apparently, Avengers Doomsday might introduce a new Captain America. Yeah, you heard that. According to the reports from CBR, they're talking that the movie could shift the mantle once again, with someone else stepping up alongside or even replacing Sam Wilson. Now, this isn't confirmed by Marvel Studios yet, but the rumor lines up with all the chatter about the next era of legacy heroes. It's part of the whole idea that the Avengers lineup is about to change in a big way heading into Secret Wars. The supposed storyline, if you believe the leaks, has Sam going through something tragic, like major loss level, that forces him to question whether he's the right person to carry the shield. Meanwhile, a younger hero possibly steps in to represent the next generation of hope. And honestly, it fits Marvel's pattern. We've already seen them pass mantles from Hawkeye, Iron Man, Thor. Thor hasn't really changed. And Black Panther. Cap being the next evolution wouldn't be that shocking. The rumor also claims Doomsday is the first of a two-part setting up Secret Wars. So expect all the legacy talk to go nuclear after this one. I mean, it's going to be Doomsday and then Secret Wars, so it is going to be a big deal in Marvel. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt until Marvel confirms anything. But even as a rumor, it's fun to think about. The whole idea of Captain America has always been bigger than one person, and if Marvel uses this to explore that theme, it could hit hard emotionally. Either way, Avengers Doomsday already sounds like the film that's going to shake up the MCU's core team again. Let me know, are you cool with another Cap taking the shield, or do you think Sam still deserves the spotlight? And then, in some legal issues, I don't have Neil Gaiman sexual assault. This is about Neil Gaiman. So this one's a serious story, and it's important to handle it carefully. Bleeding Cool reported that a sexual assault lawsuit filed earlier this year against Neil Gaiman has officially been dismissed by a U.S. federal judge, but not because of the evidence or the lack of it. The case was thrown out of on jurisdictional grounds. Basically, the alleged incident took place in New Zealand back in 2019, and both Gaiman and the plaintiff live outside the U.S., so the court says this isn't the right country for the case to be tried in. The plaintiff's lawyers have said they plan to refile in New Zealand, where the alleged event happened, so this isn't over. It's just moving venues. As of now, there's no criminal charges, and Gaiman's legal team released a short statement saying the ruling confirms that the matter doesn't fall under U.S. jurisdiction. Bleeding Cool reporting was factual and straightforward here. No spin, no judgment, which is how the story should be covered. This is one of those moments where the comic community needs to slow down and read the details before jumping to conclusions. A dismissal for jurisdiction isn't a verdict. It just means the U.S. courts can't touch it. It's a sensitive situation, and the respectful move for fans is to let the process play out where it legally belongs. And Credit goes to Bleeding Cool for keeping the coverage focused on the fact and not feeding into the rumor culture on this one. All right, and then you know that line, with great power comes great responsibilities? Well, we've heard it over 1,000 times, but after 60 years, Marvel's finally doing something fresh with it. And in Amazing Spider-Man, writer Zeb Wells and artist Ed McGuinness, it says 1038, but I don't know if that's the right episode or issue number, has lived through every possible tragedy. Or no, they didn't just recycle the message, they've evolved it. This issue digs into what they say means now that Peter's older, more weathered, and has lived through every possible tragedy a hero can face. It's less about guilt and more about growth. Peter realizing that responsibility isn't just about stopping bad guys, it's about how you choose to live after the mistake. What really caught us off guard is how Norman Osborn's factors into this. The guy who's haunted Peter for decades is trying to make peace with his past, and that forces Peter to see the quote through a whole new lens. Norman tells him, power isn't what we do with it, it's what we allow ourselves to undo. That one line flips the whole theme on his head. Instead of being trapped by responsibility, Peter learns that owning your power also means forgiving yourself. The tone's quieter than usual. Lots of reflection, softer art, muted colors, but it hits you right in the heart. It's a reminder that Spider-Man stories are really about being human. We're all carrying guilt or regret, and this issue shows. Peter's finally learning how to set some of that down. Longtime fans are calling it one of the most heartfelt Spider-Man moments in years. And if you're drifting from the series, this is the perfect issue to jump back in. It's kind of emotional storytelling that reminds you why you fell in love with the character in the first place. And then we got the CovrPrice Daily Shakers Report. Let's talk to numbers, collectors, because the CovrPrice Daily Shakers Report for October 4th dropped some serious impressive sales across every era of comic books. Leading the pack is X-Men #1 from 1963, which just sold for $6,000 in a CGC 3.5. And that's a 12% jump from last week, and proof that early Mutant keys are still absolute blue chips. Right behind it takes Tales to Astonish #27, the first appearance of Ant-Man. It hit $4,500 in a CGC 5.5, showing that the Silver Age still runs the game when it comes to long-term growth. It's like every major Marvel origin issue is on fire again, and we're watching a market correction that favors the classics. But it's not just the old stuff heating up. Moderns are reflecting that too. Silver Surfer Black #2 from 2019, the limited San Diego Comic-Con Virgin sketch variant by Giuseppe Campioli. Sorry, butchered that. My apologies. Sold for $2,184 in a CGC 9.6, and that's a monster number for a book that's barely 6 years old. And Batman 423, the legendary Todd McFarlane cover, landed a clean $2,000 in a CGC 9.8, proving that iconic art will always move the needle. Even the Bronze Age is holding strong, with Iron Man #1 from 1968 selling for $2,650, and Amazing Spider-Man 129, the first Punisher and first Jackal, pulled in $2,000. Every single one of these books is basically a masterclass in why collectors' demand never really dies, it just shifts eras. What's interesting is how steady the Golden Age and Silver Age prices are compared to the volatile moderns. Books like Superman 76 from 1952 and Superman 30 from 1944 are quietly building value under the radar, and that tells me investors are getting smart. Locking in the rare, stable stuff while the market turns around hype books. If you're into tracking these trends, CovrPrice has been spot on lately. Their shaker list is one of the best snapshots of what really is moving in the market. Go check it out on their site. Even if you're not selling, it's fun to see which keys are catching fire. And before we wrap up, don't forget that Comic Channel Origins is returning this week. And I've got a special interview lined up with the top trio from Comics Curing Cancer. Rob's Fast Exit Comics, DJ Links, and Mark from Legion of Comics. They'll be on the show tonight. It's at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Please check it out. Come ask questions. We'll have a good time. Learn all about C3 and what they got going on in their upcoming schedule. And thank you, everyone, for being here. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Comics Issue Daily. If you enjoyed this show, hit the like button, drop a comment with which story caught your eye, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on tomorrow's roundup. And huge thanks again to our sponsor, Ron's Comic Closet. And remember, you get 20% off your first order with Ron if you use code I Have Issues at checkout. All right, I'll see you next time, and I hope all that your issues are comics. All right, have a good one.